Hello, fellow translators. Today we're going to talk about how to be a successful freelance translator, because a lot of you have seen that I have this course and you wanted to know more about it. And so I wanted to explain what it talks about and how you can learn to be a successful freelance translator, as it says here, in 30 days. And that's the thing. A lot of people see stuff like in 30 days you could be earning a living as a freelance translator. This course teaches you to systemize your translation business and get your time back. Every lesson of this course is actionable, so you can get started as quickly as possible. Now, all of this is true, but if you just see it in writing like this, it might not mean much. So I wanted to show you what exactly I mean by it. And by that, I mean I'm going to go through the whole course right now, and I'm going to show you what it can give to you and what it can show you and how you can become a freelance translator within 30 days. So let's get into it. Scroll down here, you have a bunch of FAQs. I won't go through these now because I'm going to address them in the whole video, so I won't address the FAQs, but let's go directly to the course curriculum. Now right away you'll see that there are 9 sections. However, you see this introduction is actually just one video and it's a free preview, so you can feel free to watch it at any point in time. But otherwise you have the pregame and setting up your accounts, and once you've done these, you can pretty much get started. And that's how you're supposed to approach this course. It doesn't really make sense to take the whole course and then decide, okay, now I'm going to get started from the beginning again. No, it makes sense to take the course and get started while you're taking the course. And if you do that, then already when you get to the section 4, starting strategy, you can already be contacting clients, doing translation for them, and earning a living as a freelance translator. But anyway, let's get back to it. Let's start off. First of all, there's the introduction, and then we get to what I call the pregame. What do I call this the pregame? Well, because these are certain things you need to do before you get started. As you can see, I timed it out. I said day 1, resume, photo, and specializations. And I say this because you only need 1 day to do all of these. Why do you only need 1 day? Well, I'm assuming that you already have a resume. If anything, it only needs to be tweaked for your freelance translation career. And I go through exactly how to tweak it, what to tweak, what's important and what isn't. And you can get that done, I would say, in about half a day. Then I talk about the photo and the specializations, which again, doesn't take very long. They're things that you do need, but you don't need to waste too much time worrying about them or trying to handle them. And this course shows you how you can optimize your time and get these done quickly so you can get going. Day 2 is your website. Now this is your online presence. Honestly, I think it could be done in less than a day because the information is already there in your resume and other stuff, but I give it a day because I don't think anyone should be too rushed. By the way, your website doesn't necessarily mean that you have to get your own domain name. In fact, at the beginning at least, I definitely recommend you don't do that, but there are other ways to have a website out there and to make sure that you have a good online presence. And then the next part is which languages should you translate into. This is actually a downloadable, and it briefly goes into the target language, the source language, the differences, and what your approach should be in terms of languages that you're translating from and into. And then I finish up with some extras for your resume in order to stand out and to make sure that your resume is catered toward freelance translation. I also discuss some other points besides languages that you want to include in your resume because of the fact that you're applying as a freelancer, and this can make the difference when you're applying to jobs online. Now the next section is setting up your accounts. What does this mean? Well, this means that you need to set up your accounts on various different websites, and I go through these. The first is freelance websites, and these are freelancer websites like freelancer.com, Upwork, etc., etc. And here I say 1 hour max per website. In fact, you need 1 hour max for the first website. I think for the other ones you'll need a lot less time. Once again, it's all the same information that you have from before, and you just need to kind of plug that information into each website. And I explain the pros and cons of dealing with freelance websites, whether you should deal with them at all, and what type of websites you should deal with, etc. Right after that, I have signing up for Upwork a walkthrough. So I literally walk you through step by step how to sign up for Upwork. You can watch me sign up for Upwork, and so you can just follow those steps and do the same thing. Then we have translation websites, and these are more specialized than pure freelance websites. The main one of these is pros.com, and so I have another walkthrough here where I walk you through how to sign up for pros.com and make sure you get all the main information in the right place. And then I discuss translation websites a bit more because you have quite a few others. Translation Directory, Translators Cafe, you have some that are coming up now like Freelandly and stuff like that. And so I discuss them, the pros and cons, and what you should be doing. And then the next part talks about translation agencies and how you can sign up for these. Once again, 1 hour max per agency, but it's the same thing because it's always the same information that you're uploading there. However, I like to keep it more relaxed and not rush you too much. That's why I say allocate 1 hour max for each agency for signing up. Now, kudos points are something you're going to come across. Kudos points are from the pros.com website, and they're a lot more important than you'd think. And I only figured this out once I set up my agency, and I realized that when I look for other translators, how important their kudos points could be. And so I discuss this a bit more and show you why you should not neglect this, and you should take kudos points into account. Also when choosing your specializations, because that can really make a difference. Now, at this point, when going through all the information, I realized it is quite a bit of information right off the bat. And so I have a section here called Not Sure How to Start. Here are the first 5 steps I recommend. And that way I can say, okay, calm down. It's not that daunting. Here are the first things I recommend you do in 5 steps. You know, do this, do that, and then you'll be ready to go. And that way, hopefully, it can simplify your approach for when you're first starting out. And later you can tweak as needed. And here I discuss a bit more in depth about translation tests. These are one of the first things you're going to come across, especially when dealing with agencies. And I discuss whether you should take them or not, whether you should take the free ones, the paid ones, etc., and how to approach these translation tests. And the next section is a starting strategy. And like I said, at this point, you should be already contacting clients, contacting agencies, applying for jobs. You have everything set up and you're good to go. However, while you're doing that, I still like to walk you through a couple things just so you can keep that in mind. First one is pricing. And you want to know how to approach this because obviously you don't want to charge too little. You also don't want to charge too much, but you also don't want to fall into certain traps. And one of the biggest traps is people charge way too little because they don't want to risk losing the job, but that can very much pigeonhole you. And that's why I transitioned to working for free. What does this mean? Well, it kind of takes it to the extreme of working for very little and then working for free. In fact, then I discuss why actually working for free might even be better than working for very little. Anyway, I discuss all of that here, and so you'll see what I mean by it. Then I have some strategies for starting out. And this discusses a bit more about how many agencies to contact, where you can find out who to contact, and how often you should contact them, etc., just so you're not working blindly and you have a certain strategy in place. The next one is a downloadable again, and it's a sample application letter. And this is actually just a fill in the blank. So this is an introductory letter, an application letter for certain jobs where I have stuff written out and you can fill it in with your information, the information for the job, just so that you have something to work with. And obviously you can tweak it as you wish, but at least you have something to start from. And then I have 3 strategies for sales emails. These are different strategies that you can use when sending sales emails to prospectives or to agencies. One of them is an A/B test, which I think is very important. And then I have 2 other strategies as well that you can decide to use at different times. I recommend trying one at a time and seeing how they work. And obviously, once again, you can tweak these over time, but at least it gives you something to start out from. The next section is marketing. You'll realize pretty quickly that a lot of your time, most of your time is spent marketing at the beginning. At the beginning, you won't be doing many translations because no one's hiring you at the beginning. And so you're going to be doing a lot of marketing. So what does this mean? Well, it means that you're going to be doing what I call active marketing and passive marketing. Active marketing is marketing as you would think of it, marketing strategies, getting your name out there, etc. Passive marketing is something I like a lot because it's something that you can do it once and then you can forget about it because it continues working on its own. A very simple example of this is an email signature. You set up your email signature, and then every time you send out an email without even thinking about it, it has a link to your website or your profile, or it just says, I am freelance translator in so-and-so languages, something like that, that just reminds people what you do. Then in some general marketing strategies, I get into a problem that you probably will be encountering right now. And in fact, you might be asking yourself about it pretty quickly. You'll realize that no one wants to hire you if you don't have any experience, but you cannot get any experience if no one hires you. This is the problem of the chicken and the egg. And in this section is where I talk about how to deal with this issue of the chicken and the egg. In fact, this section used to be called the chicken and the egg, but then I thought it made more sense to just call it some general marketing strategies because it illustrates more what it talks about rather than just having the chicken and the egg, which seems like a random title. However, this tells you how to start out. So you can get the ball rolling and you can make sure you don't fall into that rut where you can't get your first jobs. And the next part is about LinkedIn. LinkedIn is becoming more and more important for marketing. And in fact, I think soon it's going to be the most important website for freelance translators in general. And so that's why I have a whole section dedicated to it. After that, we have job alerts. And this is a free preview. So again, feel free to check it out. It deals with the pros.com and Translators Cafe job alerts. And they set up these job alerts that get sent directly into your inbox so you don't have to think about it. As soon as there's a new job in your language combination, your specialization, it'll get sent to your email inbox. And so it's very comfortable. And so I just show you how to set these up because it's pretty simple, even though both their websites are not very intuitive. So that's why I have these walkthroughs. Now, another way to find clients, this is an interesting section because this is a way that I only discovered once I set up my agency. And this is what I use currently for my agency. It's what's called a lead generation website. And I found this one website where if you get a free account, you can still get 100 different leads, which when you're first starting out as a translator isn't bad at all. And so I walk you through how to do that and how you can use one of these websites that the professionals use, that agencies use, for you to get clients. And here I have an easy way to apply to agencies that are currently hiring. This is again pros.com. Again, it's not a very intuitive website, so I show you how you can find agencies that are currently hiring and how to apply to these agencies quite easily. You can pretty much do it in bulk. Now, where to find translation jobs is more of sort of a bonus. It's sort of a summary of all the different places you can find translation jobs. A lot of them have been covered already, but I thought it was good to have everything in one place. And I run through the gamut here. And so it's quite an important lesson here, even though it does repeat some of the information from before. And the next section is getting paid. Getting paid is very important, and you want to make sure that you do get paid. And so that's why I have a whole section dedicated to this, because unfortunately, while you're in this business, you're going to hear about quite a few people who got cheated out of their money, didn't get paid, their clients disappeared, etc., etc. And you do not want this to happen to you. So we talk about getting paid. We talk about how to set up the invoices. In fact, I have an invoice template, which you can download. I have it as free preview now. So actually you can download the invoice template right now for free if you want and just take a look. Again, it's something where you can fill in the gaps. And here actually I have an example of not getting paid. I have a personal example of where I didn't get paid, where I got scammed. And I detail it here just so you don't fall for the same thing. And then we're on to the section of tips and tricks. As you can see, there are quite a few of them, so I won't go through all of these. At some point, you probably should go through all of them just in case, because these are just things that I've used when setting up as a freelance translator and that I came across later when I set up my agency that I realized could be really helpful. Feel free to go through all of these and see how you can use them to your advantage. I have another section here on changes since COVID. A lot of stuff has changed since 2019, 2020, I should say. A lot more stuff is online. Once again, I deal with LinkedIn and what's going on, the changes that are going on, and why I think LinkedIn will actually be one of the most important websites. In fact, it's well on its way to being the most important website for freelance translation. It's not there yet, but it's getting there. And at the end, it's just some closing remarks. I have an article, is freelance translation worth it? And again, you can read that now if you want. And then thank you. And some bonus resources. Here I have basically a list of all the coupon codes and other stuff that I've amassed over the years and that I can offer to you. And so I offer all of these at the end for you in case you're interested. And that's pretty much it. And just briefly, there are two options. There might be three by the time you see this, but there are at least two options. One is to purchase the course. The other one is course plus one-on-one consultation, What does that mean? That means that you get the course plus I will give you an hour's consultation once a month for a whole year. And this is just to make sure that things are going well and that you're following the steps and that you're on the right path. And I kind of walk you through it and make sure it's working well. The idea is it lasts for a whole year because definitely by the end of the year, it'll be more of a discussion. In fact, probably by 6 months, it'll be more of a discussion, just talking about how life is, how things are going, and comparing notes because, once again, it shouldn't take that long to get started. So be sure to check out the course and best of luck with your freelance translation career. And don't forget, the course is continuously updated, so you can always come back for the latest information. So it's great to have this as reference as well throughout your career. Anyway, that's it for now. Savidum!